Since 10 p.m. last night, they were trying to travel back home ahead of the 21-day national lockdown, which came into effect at midnight. Mike Maringa is standing by with the latest. A very good afternoon to you, Mike. What's happening there?
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our viewers. We are still here at the Beitbridge border post. Remember, earlier on we indicated that the border post is now open. The traffic that is going into Zimbabwe and other SADC countries has been eliminated after the intervention. We believe it was from the minister, because for a very long time we had people who were here waiting, stranded, not knowing what to do. Later on we heard that the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Motsoaledi, is here, and I can confirm he's standing right here next to me. Minister, your observation today, you came earlier on, the traffic that we saw here suddenly disappeared. Was that your intervention?
Of course, yes. I came here because I anticipated that trouble. I must confess, I was anticipating trouble with human beings who were to cross over, not with the trucks. And so we must divide the problems into two. Firstly, the human beings, because I saw a lot of people leaving Gauteng and taking N1, and I knew that most of them are going to Zimbabwe and the other countries on the continent. And indeed, this was so. We had Zimbabweans, Zambians, Malawians, and even Mozambicans crossing here. So one of the problems was that the Zimbabwean side was not allowing the Zambians and the Malawians and Mozambicans to cross, because they argued that the gates over that side between Zimbabwe and the other countries have already been closed by 8 o'clock yesterday. The lockdown in South Africa happened at 12 midnight, but it looks like in those countries it happened at 8 o'clock. So they said we can't allow them into Zimbabwe because they won't be able to pass, because the borders are closed. So we had to negotiate, and they had to phone their counterpart on the Zambian, Malawian, Mozambican side to promise that they'll open for them, and we allow them in. One of the reasons we allow them in even after 12 o'clock is that if we don't, Musina is a very small town, as you can see. It was going to be overwhelmed, so it was better and wiser to allow them to go through. That's what we did, and that's why we see it being cleared. Then there's an issue of trucks.
A tricky situation indeed, but what is the situation now? Are they able to pass? We still have a lot of them. Will they be cleared by the end of business today?
Yeah, we'll clear them, because the Zimbabwean counterpart, I'm just from there, we have had a meeting. They've agreed. They phoned their counterpart up front between Zimbabwe and Zambia and Malawi and all that. So they are all agreeing that we must clear them to come through. And so that's why I'm confident that they'll go through.
Before I let you go, Minister, let's talk about all the other border posts in South Africa. You say you were anticipating trouble here. What is the situation with the other border posts?
No, we have not yet dealt with the issue of trucks. I'm sure you are aware that there were 7 kilometers queue of trucks here. We had to go to the Zimbabwean side also because it was stuck there. They had to relax some of the procedures to let them through, because the Zimbabwean side is under construction, and so they are very much constrained. The other problem, there was a misunderstanding that we are allowing only essential goods to pass, meaning only foodstuffs and medicine, and the other commodities. So I had to clarify that all the commercial commodities have to pass, because I'm sure you saw the trucks even occupying the lanes which were going in the opposite direction, because there was commotion, because they were selecting only those which are carrying food. Then I said, no, under these conditions, allow everybody to go through, because everything that is a commercial activity is allowed. That's why you see free movement now, which is much faster.
Having said that, Minister, are you now certain that things are now in order in all the borders? They will be completely shut down by the end of business, and the movement will only be restricted to cargo?
Well, look, obviously these are still teething problems. Just when I was coming back from when I was sitting in the Zimbabwean side, I received a phone call from my counterpart in Eswatini, Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe, who was complaining that she has been phoned that people are still at Oshoek border post with Eswatini. And we said they must open for them. I don't think it will be wise for South Africa to refuse people from going home during this lockout. So we are opening up, and fortunately I was with the head of immigration. We have phoned Oshoek border post. They are clearing up, but they are also having some bit of congestion with trucks, and we think we have got it under control now.
That is Dr. Motsoaledi, Minister of Home Affairs, indicating that South Africa will not refuse anyone who's leaving the country under this lockdown process. They will allow all of them to go as soon as just for today, like it's saying now, as soon as they are cleared, the borders will be locked for 21 days and it will be reviewed thereafter. It's now back to you in the studio.
Mike Maringa giving us an update from the Beitbridge border post there with the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Motsoaledi. It's time for a short break. I'll have some business news for you after this. Do stay with us on Point.